So you've been looking for a new game to play and you stumble across this cool free new game called Spellbreak. You've downloaded it, had your first game, and now you're thinking you want to start taking down the competition, right? Well, that's where I come in. Welcome, my sloths, to my complete beginner's guide to Spellbreak. Just before we get into the video, I've got a message from my sponsors over at the Supporting Men Society. They're an organisation dedicated to ending the stigma around men's mental health and commits to giving men a place to open up about their troubles without the fear of judgment or toxic masculinity telling them to man up.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't steal a handbag.
You wouldn't tell someone with a limb and a cast to get over it.
You wouldn't tell a straight victim to just think positive.
So why is it that with a suicide rate of 1 in 4, we're still telling men to be a man?
Grow some balls and not talk about our feelings, emotions and mental health.
We at the Supporting Men Society are committed to ending the stigma around men's mental health.
By giving men a place to open up about their issues.
Without the fear of being judged or told to man up or deal with it.
A place to escape when things get too much.
Or when we just need some company.
Or even somewhere to learn new things.
Help us help more by finding us on Facebook and Instagram and spreading the word to your friends.
You can also find us on our website at www.supportingmensociety.co.uk,
where you can find information on us, the founders,
our merch that we're bringing out,
and other projects we are working on.
Remember, we are here.
Thank you.
And with that done, let's get into the video. So some of you might be asking, what even is Spellbreak? Well, that's a fair question. Now, let me have a crack at answering it. Spellbreak is a mage-based battle royale game with RPG elements entwined within its mechanics, as you have skills that you must level up to gain more power. Before starting, you must pick a class from 6 different options, which we will cover in the next section. Once chosen, 42 people will start the game in either solos, duos or trio. Then we all land in various different areas of the map via portals. Once landed, as with all BRs, it's time to loot up. However, where this differs to most games is what you are looting. In Spellbreak, loot is broken up into 7 categories, which are as follows. Amulets, which increase your mana pool. Belts, which upgrade your armor quantity. Boots, which upgrade your movement speed. It's worth noting there is actually no sprint. This is the only way to move faster besides a talent. Runes, which give you various different abilities. Gauntlets to upgrade your main hand and give you an offhand secondary gauntlet. Scrolls, sometimes you'll find either mind, body or spirit scrolls, which will upgrade your 3 talents respectively. And finally, consumables. These are mainly floor loot, although with a talent equipped, can be found in chests too. There are 4 different types of consumables. These are armor shards, health potions, safeguard potions, and knowledge potions. The first 2 are fairly self-explanatory, with shield shards replenishing any lost shield you may have, and health potions restoring lost health. These 2 come in 3 different sizes. You have small, regular and large. Small health potions stack up to a maximum of 6, and after drinking for 2 seconds they heal you for 15 health over 5 seconds. Medium health potions take 3 seconds to drink, but they heal you for 25 health over 10 seconds. And large health potions take 6 seconds to drink, but they heal you for 50 health over 10 seconds. Armor shards are the same, with small taking 2 seconds and healing 15 armor over 5 seconds. Medium taking 3 seconds to use and giving you 25 armor over 10 seconds. And large takes 6 seconds to consume with 50 armor given over 10 seconds. The next one is safeguarding potions. Now these only come in 2 different sizes, small and large. The small safeguard potion takes 5 seconds to drink, but it gives you 25 health and armor over 10 seconds. The large one takes 8 seconds to drink, but gives you 50 health and armor over 10 seconds. The final consumable is a knowledge potion. Now this only comes in 1 size, takes 1 second to drink, but it gives you 2 bonus charges to your rune and your sorceries. And whilst these don't stack in your inventory, you can drink them one after the other, stacking the ability to give you up to 8 charges on your sorcery and runes. Once looting is done, it plays out much like any other BR. Fight your way into the circle as it gets increasingly smaller, defeating the opposition as you go to become the one winner. So, now you have a brief overview of what Spellbreak is, let's get into the real details, starting with the gauntlets. As I briefly mentioned earlier on, the choice of weapon comes from gauntlets and spells rather than guns and explosives. You can choose from 6 classes, each one having a basic attack and a sorcery, which are as follows: Ice, Fire, Lightning, Stone, Toxic, and Wind. Each class has its own skill set that ties with the playstyle of the class overall, which you level up by entering the next circle. If Ice is your starter gauntlet, you'll have an Ice Bow as your basic attack, which increases damage the longer it's charged, whilst the sorcery allows you to freeze any enemy within a certain radius, whilst also slowing them down and at a later stage granting you immunity. You'll also start with the ability to create ice paths to give you added maneuverability. Then, upon entering the first circle, you'll gain the ability to hover while you aim your shot, highlight its enemies in red, and if you fully charge your shot, it will take no mana out of your mana pool. Once you make it to the second circle, you gain invulnerability while casting your sorcery Flash Freeze. Then, getting into the third circle will provide you with a 35% extra damage boost on your fully charged shots. I would compare this class to your generic long-range sniper playstyle, making it better over distance as it allows you time to get the extra damage from charging your shots, but also gives you a nice defensive sorcery if they get too close. Choosing the Pyromancer class will give you the Fire Gauntlet, which shoots an explosive fireball as its basic attack, and will lay down a wall of fire to keep your enemies from escaping as its sorcery. As for skills, you start with the Power of Combustion, allowing your fireballs to set your opponents alight after a direct impact. It also increases the explosion radius by 200%. Arriving in the first circle will grant you the ability of Firefly, which allows you to fly briefly immediately after walking through yours or your teammate's firewall. The skill for the second circle grants 100% damage increase to your firewalls for 2 seconds. And the final skill, upon entering the third circle, is Conflagration, which will give your fireballs the power to spawn 6 smaller fireballs upon impact, each setting your opponent alight and burning them for extra damage. This class is definitely better for mid-range explosive players due to its high damage output, including potential self-damage, but also requires a decent amount of maneuverability to keep on top of your target. If Conduit is your class of choice, then you will start off with the Lightning Gauntlet as your primary weapon. When it comes to skills with this class, in my opinion, the first one is one of the strongest out of all of them. You start off with Potential Energy skill, which adds +1 damage to each bolt of lightning until you stop casting, but caps at +5. Which, as this is a rapid fire spell, is incredibly strong. First circle unlocks the Overload ability. This skill gives an extra rune charge when you cast your sorcery, which for this gauntlet is a devastating lightning strike that will stun your opponent if it hits them. Making it to the second circle grants the Power Surge ability, which upon casting the lightning strike sorcery, reduces your mana cost by 100% for 4 seconds. The final skill upgrade for circle 3 is Secondary Strike, which upgrades your lightning strike by 4 extra strikes, increasing from 1 to 5 strikes total, adding even more damage and chances to stun your opponents. If you're a mid to long range full auto gunner, then this is definitely the class for you with its high fire rate and damage output. Next we move on to my favourite class, Stone Shaper. Choosing this class will start you with the Stone Gauntlet on your main hand. The starting skill for this class is Stone Skin. This gives you +20 to your shields, meaning that you start with 20 shields while not having to wear a belt, and up to a maximum of 120 with a legendary belt. You also gain the ability to replenish 5 shield by slamming the ground, however this only works from 0 to 20 shield. Entering the first circle then unlocks the Bedrock skill. This skill causes you to come crashing back down to the ground when you cast your primary attack, which unleashes a devastating earth-breaking blow. Successfully fighting your way into the second circle rewards you with the Accretion skill. This skill upgrades your sorcery Boulder Fall, so instead of just throwing a boulder of a fairly small size, it now grows bigger and bigger the longer it stays in the air, also increasing the damage it inflicts upon impact. The final skill you unlock is Avalanche. This skill increases the total number of boulders your sorcery can conjure by 1, giving you a total of 2 boulders to launch at your foes. This class is made for those of you that prefer to be in the enemy's face, keeping the pressure up as it's mainly ground based with very little maneuverability. Coming towards the end of the class list now, we have the Toxicologist class, which starts you off with the Toxic Gauntlet. This gauntlet's primary attack is a toxic spray, whilst casting the sorcery throws a cloud of poison at your target, damaging their armor. As for skills, the Toxicologist comes prepared for subterfuge and damage over time. Your starting skill for this class is Viscosity. This skill makes your primary toxic spell leave puddles where it lands, slowing your enemy and dealing damage over time. Then progressing into the first circle grants you the Vanishing Mists ability. This provides immunity to your and your teammates' toxic clouds, whilst also making you invisible for 3 seconds and giving you a dash boost in the direction that you're looking. Second circle will unlock the Outbreak ability. Outbreak gives you 75% damage bonus when you're attacking from invisibility. The final skill for this class is Spreading Sickness. This skill upgrades your sorcery, allowing you to throw 3 toxic clouds instead of 1. Comparing this class to other games, I'd say it's most closely tied to the shotgun, close quarter combat, stealth classes. Lastly, but by no means least, is the Tempest class. This class commands power over winds, with its primary attack being fast firing wind shears and its sorcery being the power to cast tornadoes, trapping your foe if they try to escape in the air. The skills of this class have an emphasis on maneuverability and staying airborne, starting with the first skill, Wind Surge. This boosts your wind shear, giving it the power of wind jump, forcing you into the sky or off of whatever surface it hits. First circle brings with it Updraft, upgrading your tornadoes to also launch you into the sky, further aiding with mobility around the battlefield. Second circle, and we unlock the Squall skill. With this power, Tempests really become a force to be reckoned with. Squall grants a huge 20% damage bonus anytime you're in the air, whilst also giving you a 10% damage reduction in the air as well. The final skill for this class is Sudden Gust, further boosting your in-air powers by reducing the time it takes for your sorcery to cool down by 100%. This would be closest to an SMG aerial class if compared to other games for its high fire rate and even higher mobility. One of the most unique points about Spellbreak is the way the spells interact with one another, giving you access to some absolutely destructive combos. Figuring these out is a lot of fun, watching how they all intertwine together. However, knowing them can be the difference between the win or being exiled, so I've gone through all of them to give you a helping hand. Learning these combos and utilising them as a team will ensure your opponents have a real tough time defeating you, as you and your team are bouncing off of each other's spells. Another good thing to keep in mind when playing as a team is the fact that if you and another team member are using the same gauntlets, you can each use each other's sorceries. For example, if you and a teammate are both pyromancers, you can use each other's firewalls to activate your firefly ability. Keeping these things in mind can lead to some super interesting and pretty damn awesome team plays that can really make the difference between exiling or being exiled. In Spellbreak, what we'd normally understand as perks are called talents. These talents are split into 3 categories: mind, body and spirit, each one having a number of points from 1 to 3. Using these talent points, make yourself a loadout whilst making sure not to exceed the 6 talent point limit, otherwise you won't be able to start the game. However, keep in mind that some of these talents are locked and can only be unlocked by leveling your classes up to level 6. I've listed all of them here so that you can start building your classes whilst you work at unlocking some of these talents. Your mind talents are focused mana. While mana is at 80% or more, deal 15% more damage. This is 1 talent point. Spell Slinger, store extra gauntlets and runes in your inventory slots. Sorcery cooldowns are minus 5% as well, also 1 point. Runic Fluency, +1 rune charge and rune cooldown is minus 5%. This is 2 points. Tracking, on spell hit you outline your target for you and your team for 3 seconds. This is also 2 points. Harmony, immune to slowing, freezing and shocked. Also incoming damage reduction is 5%. This is 3 points. Your final mind talent is Vigor. This increases your max health by 25. This is also 3 points. Your body talents are Dexterity. Jump height is increased by 25% and your levitation mana cost is decreased by 15%. This is a 1 point talent. Finders Keepers increases your chance to find potions from chests by 25% and also increases your chance to find scrolls from chests by 50%. Also a 1 point talent. Fortitude creates a barrier that absorbs 1 source of damage before reforming after 60 seconds. This is a 2 point talent. Scavenging, which upon exiling an opponent will restore 25 shield and health, also a 2 point talent. Fervor, which increases your spellcast speed by 15%. This is a 3 point talent. And your final body talent is Foresight, which shows you future storm circles and mana vault locations. It also shows enemies on the minimap every 10 seconds. This is also a 3 point talent. Finally, we move on to our spirit talents. Starting with Escapist, which increases your run speed by 3, and then on damage taken will increase it by a further 1 for 5 seconds. This is a 1 point talent. Recklessness, which means with no armor, your spell damage increases by 15% and your mana cost decreases by 15%. This is also a 1 point talent. Recovery, on health damage you regen 35% of the damage taken. This is a 2 point talent. Thirsty, potion and shard use speed is increased by 35%, and consumables replenish health and armor of nearby teammates for 50%. Another 2 point talent. Ambidextrous, you gain the level 1 skill of your offhand gauntlet class, and your offhand spell mana cost is decreased by 5%. This is a 3 point talent. Your final spirit talent is Vital Stone. Upon disruption, resurrect with 10% health, and you're also immune to damage for 4 seconds after you resurrect. This is also a 3 point talent. Each of these talents can be upgraded by collecting the respective scroll to each talent's group, either mind, body or spirit, providing even greater bonuses. As I briefly went over earlier in the video, in Spellbreak you can loot items called runes. These runes contain different power that affect your gameplay in different ways, and each has a different tier of power / rarity. From least to highest it goes white, common, green, uncommon, blue, rare, purple, epic, and gold, legendary. Each tier has a quicker cooldown than the last, and each cooldown varies depending on what the power is. In total there are 9 runes, and to save you having to locate them or look them up, I've gone through all of them for you as well, because I'm nice like that. Spring Step makes you perform a huge directional leap, adding extra height and movement capabilities. At common tier the cooldown is 7.5 seconds, and at legendary it's 4.5 seconds. Invisibility, exactly as it says on the tin, you turn invisible for 8 seconds, whilst also boosting your run speed by 3. At common, the cooldown is 10 seconds, and at legendary, the cooldown is 6. Dash gives you a burst of speed in the direction you're moving. At common, it's a 9 second cooldown, and at legendary, it's a 4.5 second cooldown. Shadow Step. This rune is like a lesser mixture of the previous two, invisibility and dash, granting you invisibility for 2 seconds and a boost of speed in the direction that you're moving. At common, the cooldown is 13 seconds, and at legendary, the cooldown is 7 seconds. Teleport, another pretty self-explanatory one. This rune allows you to travel a 60 meter distance after a 0.6 second aiming period. The cooldown starts at 22 seconds for common, all the way up to 13 seconds at legendary. Featherfall allows you to defy gravity and launch yourself into the sky and then slowly float back down. Spellcasting does cancel the floating though. At common, the cooldown is 14 seconds, and at legendary it's 8 seconds. Wolf's Blood unleashes a bestial howl, giving you the power to see any enemy outlines up to 100 meters away, even through walls and terrain, including invisible players. The cooldown is 12 seconds at common and 7 seconds at legendary. Flight allows you to propel yourself in the direction you're looking, but is interrupted by jumping or collision. Cooldown starts at 18 seconds at common tier and goes down to 10 seconds at legendary tier. The final rune is Chronomaster. This rune allows you to bend time. Once activated, you have a 4-second timer to move and attack. After those 4 seconds are up, you return to the location you activated it, returning health and shields to their highest level recorded during those 4 seconds. However, if you get disrupted or exiled, this will be cancelled. At common tier, you have a cooldown of 22 seconds, whilst at legendary tier there is a cooldown of 13 seconds. It's worth practicing with all of these runes, as different runes will fit different playstyles, and you may end up being surprised by what fits with yours. In the Hollowlands, your runes can make as much difference as your talents and your gauntlets. Practice, learn, master and perfect your builds with all of the information I've given you so far, and you'll soon be getting those wins. Just before I wrap this video up, I want to leave you with a few tips and quests to venture on in your time in the Hollowlands. Each gauntlet has an almost perfect counter gauntlet to it. For example, if you're struggling against stone shapers, try getting the hang of the Tempest class. It's not always smart to seek out action. Remember, positioning is key in this game. Make your environment aid your class rather than hinder it. Practice with each class, get familiar with each class's strengths and especially its weaknesses. Look at what gauntlets your enemy is using and try to react accordingly. And finally, mana management is key. Don't waste your mana, time your jumps and levitations so that you can attack when you really need to. And that brings us to the end of the video. I truly hope this helps you find your footing in Spellbreak. If you found this video informative, then please do leave a like and subscribe for more tutorials and montages. It really helps me grow and help other gamers be the best that they can. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos. Just watching helps me get to where I want to be. As always, you can also find me on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram and TikTok for more clips, tips and funny moments. And just want to say thank you again for all of your support, and until next time, peace out my sloths.